Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha, Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth that be like unto the speckled bird. The Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like those heathen, and to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, this is not a black thing. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And just a quick breakdown, but not a breakdown, but a commentary on this movie, The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's an enjoyable movie. It's worth watching. And Esau and the whole thing with the Planet of the Apes is a play on the Palatine Boers, as Benjamin Franklin said, the false royalty, the black people who once ruled Europe that they tried to hide their history, and now it's coming out. What do you think those images, and I hate to use that word black. I would prefer to use the word swarthy, but most of you in your ignorance have no idea what swarthy means. And the word swarthy or tawny was replaced with black. Okay? But, those images that Vladimir Putin showed that, had the whole, world in an uproar, and, Edomites in the West and Western societies mad and complaining. Well, the ones here in the Americas anyway, many of the ones in Europe, they're very well aware of the Moors and and the imagery and the relics of the swarthy people that were there in power before they were. They're aware of it. They just like to ignore it, and they purposely covered it up. All right, they do it in England, they do it in Scotland, they do it in Ireland, they do it all over. All right. But, it's a pretty well-known fact that just gets ignored or downplayed when it's brought up. Or when they are faced to acknowledge some sort of relic, they'll just talk about it just happened to be some African who rose to some sort of level, and that's not, that was a isolated incident. It wasn't a normal thing. Well, that's a lie. All right. So-called Negroes ruled all of Asia, all right, including the portion that they call Europe and the portion that they call Western Asia after the fall of Rome, which actually fell because of them. All right, the so-called Negro presence in Rome played a big role because they were all in the military and all into high positions, because that's what Esau does when he subjugates people. He brings you into his fold. He heapeth unto himself all people. All right. That's in the book of Habakkuk. But what happens in this movie is that, if you saw the last one that led up to this, I believe that's Caesar on the bottom with the snow all over his face. And he was like the first elder, their lawgiver, the one who mixed and mingled with the humans. And there was a virus that man-made, as almost all of them are these days, in my opinion. I don't want to give any medical information to draw the, there's something called a center of disease creation, and, stuff goes on there. All right. But this disease pretty much put the Edomites in the state that they were when the curse fell upon them, when it says upon their belly they should go. And that was pretty much fulfilled after the fall of Rome, during the time of the Dark Ages. And it wasn't called the Dark Ages because, there was no light in the earth and all this stuff. It's amazing how they have all these records from Rome, but then they have no records from the Dark Ages, and then all of a sudden the Renaissance. The Renaissance means rebirth, and the rebirth of who? Well, the character May. So on the screen, from left to right, you have the character of Noah. They all had biblical names for the most part, all right? You had May, the Echo, all right, which is, Echo was code for Edom, all right? Because that's what Noah's tribe called them. They called them Echo. Then you had Raka, all right, who was a keeper of the law. All right. Matter of fact, let's grab a scripture, because he was very serious about the law and apes, being united and not fighting and killing each other, which should be, all right. But this is Romans 7:1, and it reads, "Know ye not, brethren, for I speak unto them that know the law, how the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth." And that would be, and so, if the law is done away with, there'd be lawlessness. So that's the lie that Christianity has taught, which was, in Christianity, was pushed forth by Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, the self-proclaimed, because he's not white. He's actually palish red, pinkish red, all right, just like the Bible identifies him. When it first came out, red all over, okay? And Noah and his village, amongst his people, Noah often talked about it is the law. It's the law. Yeah, they were very orderly. There was a scene where they were gathering they were the eagle clan. They like to use the word clan instead of tribe, but they were the eagle tribe, and they raised eagles. And when they would raid an eagle's nest, it was you were always to leave at least one egg. You never took them all, but that was the law. So they were very big on law, and you had to go in order, because you raised the eagle and that eagle bonded with you. All right, the eagle was free, but it became like your companion, your pet, and you use it to hunt, you use it to hunt, you use it to fight, you use it to scout, use it to do certain things. The eagle would even go catch fish for you if you were hungry, all right, to feed you and itself. All right, so it was, so that was what that was all about. And there was a law even to that. So these people were very organized. So, all inspiration for all these, you remember our beloved elder apostle, Gabar, all the apostles for that matter, constantly tell you that, all these Hollywood directors, they read the Bible for their inspiration, and they always fall back on the Bible. President Theodore Roosevelt made the statement that a thorough education or knowledge of the Bible is better than any college education that you can get, and that is 100% true. A thorough understanding of the Bible is better than any PhD, BA, or whatever, any degree that you can get. A thorough knowledge of the Bible is far superior, trumps it by far. Okay? So, once again, you got Caesar, started from the left to right, Raka, and then I believe the king's name was Proxima Caesar, all right? Because he had an Edomite in his captivity, and Echo, that he had read him history all the time, okay? And, and he kind of played the line, because some of the things he was doing was wrong. And Raka felt like they were violating the law, but the flip side of it is that this king was trying to unite all the tribes, all the clans, all right? And there was a division between them. And clearly they warred with one another. But what he was trying to do was bring everyone unto himself, that they would be one kingdom. So his vision was not wicked at all, what he was trying to do. You just got resistance when you got people living their own way. And, well, that's a whole other lesson in itself. But if they're living you separately from you and they're keeping law, you should just leave them alone. All right. But then you had... not shown. I'm trying to look for her. Well, that's Caesar's mom. I never got her name on the bottom. And Noah's mom, and of course Caesar being on the bottom left. That was from the previous movies. And then Noah, and then that's then the one in the middle again, in the bottom middle, and then in the bottom right, that would be his mother, and I didn't catch her name. That was Noah's mother. All right, but Raka, there's a scene where Raka and Caesar, they're being followed by May, and they say, and the king has his soldiers out hunting for May. All right, and you can tell they knew her smell, they knew which one she was, and they were trying to catch her because they knew that May could speak, because they had an encounter, because clearly what happened was May was brought up inside of a bunker. All right. She was brought up inside of a bunker, and the people in the bunker weren't affected by the man-made virus. Therefore, they still had, and they were trying to communicate, get their numbers up, and try to retake back the world and see. And that's, and that's not going to happen. All right. That is not going to happen. I'm going to get to the scriptures, to more scriptures on that. But there comes a point where they come across, I guess it looks like they're near New York. And they come across a bunch of zebras, which they had never seen before. And Rocco was like, what is that? It was actually kind of funny. So a horse with stripes. And then next thing you know, the herds of the echoes came, which immediately, and they brayed and they couldn't talk. And, yeah, they were dirty. They didn't know how to clean or wash themselves. Yeah, they went right back to the state where upon their belly they shall go, which is where they're going again. All right. Except we won't allow them to be unclean like that. Even though they're going to work sun up to sundown and be filthy, they're going to clean themselves. All right. They're going to follow the law. We will not, uncleanliness won't be allowed. But this is the book of Job, the 30th chapter, in verse 1. And it reads, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, those whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. And you know what Edom does with animals and dogs. All right, both their women and their men. Yeah, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, whom in old age was perish. For want and famine and their celerity fleeing into the wilderness in former time desolate and waste. They got pushed into the wilderness, all right, pushed into the Caucasus Mountains after the fall of Rome, all right, which was their second mountainous home, because their first mountainous home was Mount Seir in Jordan, okay? As a matter of fact, let's pull up some receipts. Just happen to have some in my phone. Just go to the end of this list. And here we go. Here's some receipts. Okay. These are images of Mount Seir. Their first, hold on. Their first home. All right. This is a place near Mount Seir. You can see clearly that those are Edomites. You would think this was in Greece somewhere, but this is all near Petra. So this was the original home of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right. Their first mountainous home. All right. And then once they conquered, the western part of Asia and, and this whole European thing, remember, that's why they call it Eurasia. Europe is in Asia. All right. Don't make me bring out the map. Okay. There's no separation between Asia and Europe because it's all one landmass. Okay. And when Rome fell, these same echoes, as Caesar's tribe, the Eagle tribe called them, these same echoes, these Edomites, at the fall of Rome, the Israelites drove them into the Caucasus Mountains. All right, so let's go back to Job. Verse 4, Job 30:4. Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. All right. They were driven from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. They were driven from among men. They wanted, because with the Edomites, what do? They come to rape, rob, murder, and steal, which is exactly what made this. She made this alliance with Caesar to help him free his people. But the bunker that they were sitting on a bunker, and the king was trying to get into that bunker to get its because inside that bunker was knowledge, books, weapons, tanks, things that they could, and she did not want them to have it. Okay. It says, for they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys and in the caves of the earth and in the rocks. And they kind of rebuilt. When you look at the skylines in all the major cities, all right, they kind of rebuilt that. The mountainous range. You know, the apartments and the condos are like the holes, the caves, and the holes in the rock. Okay. Oh, don't want that to play. I don't want to get hit with no copyright. Hold on. Let's turn that off. It says, and among the bushes they brayed under the nettles where they gathered together. And that's what they witnessed right there at this scene. The three of them together. They saw, and Raka said, I thought the herds were dead. He thought all the humans were dead. The herds, that the echo herds were gone, but they came back and they were braying, and they were right there at the water's edge, right with the zebra, drinking, bending over and drinking, the water. And then the king's apes, led by the huge silverback, began to hunt them down. But what they were really trying to do was catch May. That's who they were after. And now you know why. That was the plot. It was all about getting the contents of that bunker and her getting something from the bunker where she could take back to the bunker that she was in and use the satellites to contact, the rest of the people who were inside bunkers, that survived this whole thing. But see, but the scriptures clearly tell you that Esau, Edom, they're not going to survive this third world war. All right. Well, not the ones in America. Everyone any person that's not of the Lord's elect on the continental United States and in Israel and in the land of Israel will not make it. All right. Difference is that America will be left barren and only desert animals will live here, but the land of Israel will be rebuilt again through slave labor. The other nations, and mainly Esau, Edom. All right, that's going to be the new, the new Jerusalem. It's a people before it's a place, but they're going to come down after the ships that they call UAPs and UFOs. Go down into Europe and Africa and different parts of Eurasia into Asia, and collect up all the survivors and bring them to rebuild our kingdom. Thus saith the Holy Bible. Thus saith the Scriptures. All right, and that's what it is. Because what does it say? Was that in to bind their kings? Let's find that's in Psalms. Their nobles. Yeah, Psalms 149. And I start at verse 4, 149 and 4. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people, personal pronoun. He will beautify the meek with salvation. The meek are the Israelites, not everyone, not all nations. Let the saints, the Israelites, not all nations, be joyful in glory, because Romans tell you that only them is promised the glory, not another people, as Paul told you, according to the flesh. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand. All right? Remember Ezekiel 25th chapter, verses 12 through 14. Esau has to receive the destruction by the edge of the sword at the hand of Israel. All right? To execute vengeance upon the heathen and the punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This is an honor have all his saints, the Israelites. Praise ye the Lord. The Israelites are going to put in chains the nobles, your prime ministers and presidents and princes and queens. They're all going into chains. They're going to be the first fruits of slavery. Thus saith the Lord. All right. Hence the reason why they want to counsel, the Bible. Okay. And then the mistake that Caesar made, all right, was trusting, and his king even told him, trusting in this human, trusting in this echo. And they left room in the movie for another part, that the humans started communicating that they were going to raise back up. The scriptures clearly tell you, as a matter of fact, let's find that scripture. This is Jeremiah 51, I believe. Oppression is not going to raise up again. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it says Isaiah 51:64. And thou shalt say, thus shall Babylon sink, and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her. And they shall be weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. So, no, Babylon's not going to raise up again. It's not going to happen. That's wishful thinking. You know, Edom loves to, just like he whitewashed history, he always tries to write himself, a way out, write himself into victory as if he has hope and chance. No. The most you can hope is that one of your daughters is attractive enough to become a concubine and actually get to see the inside of the big house. All right? Actually gets to come into the city of gold because she's a personal servant. That'd be the most you can hope for. Yeah. All right? This is Sirach. And start at very first 10. Yeah, it says for Caesar, trust in May. It says never trust, not Caesar, but Noah, trust in May. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself, May came humbling. All right, she came very humbly and meek to get the help of Caesar and Raka to get food and shelter and protection. All right, just so she can try to destroy them later. All right. Though he humble himself and grow crouching, yet take good heed and be aware of him, that thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not all been altogether wiped away. And Noah figured out she was a liar pretty quickly. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. All right. And that's exactly what they did, because once they took our place, all right, they whitewashed history and put themselves as the royalty of Asia, Western Asia, Eurasia. All right. Lied about. They didn't tell you about the castles and that were all throughout Northern Africa and Western Africa where the Israelites were. All right. Why do you think they went over there destroying stuff in Mali, doing those wars that they had in these last recent years, trying to destroy all those relics when they had them people dressed up, ISIS, which, we know what that really means, a certain, secret intelligence. Right. We know what that means. People who blows up and destroys, museums. No, you confiscate the goods, but not when you're trying to hide. You're trying to hide relics that prove who lived in the land and who was in a particular place when you're claiming to be those people. That was what that was all about. All right. Jumping down to verse 16, we wrap it up. Sirach, or the book of Ecclesiastes 12 and 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, just as May did, but he will find opportunity. He will not be satisfied with blood. All right. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. Though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. And that's exactly what May did. All right. So the lesson is never trust thine enemy. So like for all these Israelite camps that have these 501c3 charters that change their ways to seek love so they can get a Hellcat in a music deal and, or whatever, whatever gift, the gift destroyed the heart. And now they're all being put on blast. And they're all going to be exposed because they trusted in their enemies. Many of the congregation is going to turn on them. A lot of these false prophets are going to get put to death by their own people, their own congregations. But with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wakahak, Wadash, Kwam, Yasharala, Abba, Babal.